Greetings and welcome, one and all. The rest of Season 5 has now begun. After a few months' wait, we're finally back into regular episodes of MLP, and with a premise that's been hinted at since all the way back in Season 1. Lauren Faust's original intention for Rarity was that she would one day achieve her dream of running a boutique in Canterlot. And with many of Rarity's episodes over the years, we've seen just how much effort she's put into reaching that goal. Honestly, I'd been looking forward to seeing this sort of story for years. Which, I have to admit, set my expectations rather high. And maybe I really shouldn't have, because this episode felt kind of average. They did some things pretty well here, so I wouldn't consider it even close to a bad episode, but it just feels like a little bit of wasted potential considering how much Rarity has been building towards this opportunity. I'm not really sure. But let's start from the beginning. Rarity is working in her boutique in Ponyville waiting for a particular letter, which leads into a bit of an awkward appearance from Pinkie Pie. While I admit the thought of strawberry cinnamon cilantro cupcakes is certainly out there, and a couple of Pinkie's lines actually did get me to smile.
What indeed? I bet you're wondering what warrants such a welcome. Well,
I don't think her appearance was really necessary. Even for comedy's sake, I think her entertainment value here was kind of just meh.
we said meh. M-E-H. Meh.
Yeah. In fact, most of the main six seemed even less necessary than the usual episodes. And that's actually saying a lot considering there are many, many examples where some of the main six could have been cut from a scene without losing anything. The only exception seems to have been with Twilight, who was displaying one of Rarity's new gowns. And she was quite cordial, considering the fact that this was kind of just sprung on her, and we do get to see her slight discomfort when in front of the crowd. But other than that, I don't see a reason for any of the main six to be here. But this is supposed to be Rarity's story after all. And if she had pulled in all her friends to help with the work like in Rarity Takes Manhattan, it would have hurt the narrative in my opinion. Rarity had to go through the discomfort of, for lack of a better term, working without any passion for the work. And I really wanted her to learn this kind of lesson. Finding out that her dreams weren't quite as perfect as she wanted them to be, and rediscovering what drove her creativity and enjoyment for dressmaking to begin with. And the character of Sassy Saddles was a fair way to help present the needed conflict. I'm sure a lot of us have come across someone who knows what sells and how to bring in customers, but not necessarily why.
Well, the chart says...
I'm not asking the charts, I'm asking you!
Well, the chart says...
I'm glad to see that this episode showed how such a character really can bring results, and that such methods have at least some merit. In the earlier parts, I was worried they'd make Sassy out to be irredeemably set in her ways, but thankfully the writers didn't go too far down that route. I may cringe at the idea that everyone wants a particular thing just because a celebrity endorses it.
But the chart says...
Yeah. But this sort of behavior is a lot more true to life than what we might expect. It's just, Sassy Saddles as a character doesn't really leave much of an impression. She made for a needed foil in the story, and that's about it. When I look back at characters like Coco Pamel and Maud Pie from Season 4, they had far more established personalities and quirks that helped them to stand out in a big way. Here, I get the sense that this background pony who sounds suspiciously like Raven from Teen Titans is going to get a lot more attention in the community than Sassy Saddles. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. The song Rules of Rarity actually pulled me in right from the get-go. The guitar was charming and the lyrics seemed to be building towards something grand. But the chorus came in after just a couple lines. It almost seemed like this piece was meant to be longer and ended up having parts cut out or rearranged. What started out as something intriguing just ended up being standard, I suppose. As for the lesson itself, I think it works. It's the kind of moral that Rarity really should be learning, and it's presented in a way that's easy for the audience to understand and even relate with. I'd been hoping to see something just like this for Rarity's character arc ever since I started making videos on this channel. but it still feels a bit like wasted potential. I guess this is just another one of those episodes that really needed more time to properly build up some parts, and yet the writers still only have about 22 minutes to work with. I really should like this idea a lot more, and yet I fear that in time, this is going to be lumped in with a lot of the more average episodes in the series. Which is a real shame for Rarity's arc, considering that when Rainbow Dash was reaching for her greatest dream in Wonderbolt Academy, both the story and the moral were a lot more satisfying. But with that said, I actually do like some of the facial expressions they came up with, as I'm sure we'll be seeing these popping up here and there in the community. Maybe the writers are planning to give Rarity a lot more of a satisfying conclusion to her story arc someday, and this was just setting up for it. Maybe they figure it's just too soon to reach her ultimate dream and show real progress towards a brand new story in her life. But in the end, I guess this is another episode concept which gave me high expectations, and there just wasn't enough in here to meet them. Now I would like to hear from each of you. Given how long we've been waiting to see Rarity take this next step towards her dream, do you think the episode measured up? Did Sassy Saddles feel like a good fit in the story? Will you be going back and giving this new song another listen in the near future? Where do you believe Rarity's story arc is going to take her next? I would like to hear your thoughts on Canterlot Boutique, and here's looking forward to the rest of Season 5 yet to come. I am Dr. Wolf, and I look forward to hearing from you.
I've gotten everything I ever wanted, but I'm miserable.
How could you possibly be miserable?
Well, the chart says...